Lemkin Solitaire and Equalizer seeders and planters offer disruptive innovation like vertical banding, dry and/or liquid onboard fertilizer, and great prices. Go to lemkindemo.com for more information and to request a demo.
I'm Amber Bell, and this is Real Agriculture. I am here today with Christi Friesen of Rebellion Farms. Now, Christi, welcome. It's great to see you again.
Thanks for having me.
So, I ran across your ex post today talking about the tariffs, specifically addressing Danielle Smith. Can you just talk a little bit about that, and then we'll dig in a bit deeper afterwards?
Yeah. So basically, it was just in response to, I appreciate her candor. I appreciate, that she's going after, and standing up for Albertans, and for industries in Alberta, given all these tariffs and everything that's happening right now. But canola is, it's actually $1 billion industry. We're $8.6 billion into just the US market alone. We're not even talking about the Chinese tariffs that are on that. So that's a whole
And that's
separate
just Alberta.
and that's just so that would be Canada as a whole is
Okay.
8.6 billion. But I just want to put it into perspective. So 29% is actually Alberta canola. So any of the exports, Alberta makes up 29% of that, and it's in second behind Saskatchewan. Saskatchewan is obviously the powerhouse of canola. But yeah, Alberta itself makes up 29% of all canola exports. Into the US, the US is our largest market when it comes to the oils, and especially the biodiesel portion of that. And that is where it's slightly concerning because if we don't have that, so 70% of all canola that's exported to the States is for that is our main biodiesel market essentially is to the US. So it's super important that we continue to have that market and that we have a stable and reliable market for canola producers. And that's not even just for Alberta, it's for all Western Canada, all canola producers essentially in Canada, right?
Right. And so if we talk about the tariffs and the trade disruptions and everything, another feature that you had in your post was talking about the actual breakdown of the numbers on farm. So can you go into those numbers a little bit? Because I think that might shock some
Yeah.
producers and
Yeah, for sure. So I just decided to kind of take it and kind of just toss my farm's numbers out there. So like realistically on our farm, we're a 5,000 acre farm. Okay. So to say 2,500 of that is canola acres. So half of our operation is canola acres. Okay. Just for easy numbers. So right around before the tariffs were kind of, being talked about and all that kind of stuff, canola pricing it wasn't the greatest. It wasn't the highs that we've seen. But I'm going to say it's a lot more stable than what it is now.
Mhm.
So the price it was consistent around 14. If you were good, you could find that $14 a bushel price. And then what happens is when the tariffs are basically announced, the markets fluctuated, anywhere from 18 to 20%. So I used 18% just to easy numbers. Let's make it easy. So 18%. So that takes off, what was it? I think it's $2 a bushel that it drops down. So now we're anywhere $12 for canola a bushel. And to put things into perspective, we are coming off one of the most expensive crop years that we've ever had for inputs. So I guess to put it into perspective, uh, just like I mentioned in my post, so $2 a bushel, we're $12 a bushel now. So if you want to put it into take that across the 2,500 acres, right? So it was 1.5 million prior to the tariffs would be what our gross profit for 2,500 acres with the provincial average of, I think I took 40 because I think the provincial average is 39 or 37 point. I think I did 40, just easy numbers again. So, and that gives us roughly $1.5 million. And so after the tariffs are announced and the price drops and we start losing all of our markets, we're down to 1.3. 1.35 million is what our farm would gross. But just to put things into perspective, the 2025 crop year, we already have planned, we already have bought, we already have all expenditures. So we know what this year's crop is essentially going to cost us to put into the ground. This year's crop for just for canola alone on our farm is 1.37 million. So it's literally costing me money now to seed canola. So I'm losing money. So in my operation alone, that was over $200,000, just for easy numbers, $200,000 that it just dropped and lost off of our canola just like that, just due to the tariffs.
Right. And that's before we even discuss, weather issues or the random things that get thrown throughout
That's
the
right.
season that can hurt
Yes.
yields. So,
Drought, pests, weather, right? It never ends.
right. That's incredible. So, looking at those numbers like that, what would you propose that would be some government policies that might be able to help this, or what would you like to see happening?
What I would really like to see happening is, first and foremost, is I would like to see a little bit more coverage from basically from our government. I know in talking to a lot of other farmers, in Alberta, seeing other farmers' posts coming out and how the tariffs are affecting their operations. John Kowalchuk just had a beautiful video post to show what he paid for his canola, or like what it cost for his canola and things like that. And I think we need to know that we're being heard. And I think that's step one. There hasn't been a whole lot of recognition in regards to the canola tariffs. I think it's been heavily focused on the oil industry, and you know what, canola is a part of that with the biodiesel. And the U.S. was one of our biggest, is our biggest, 70%,
That's a lot.
is that's a massive market. And so it is, we are a billion-dollar industry. And we need to have people stand up for us. We need to have people, we need people to have our backs. There's been some talk about the tariffs that are being, let's face it, the government is collecting whatever tariffs or whatever's being happened. It would be nice to see those tariffs be put back into the hands of the farmers, to the people that are actually sacrificing. So the money that I lost, that was my profit margin. That was my
Right.
money. That was my profit margin, and it's gone. It's gone. That was my whole entire year's work for our farm. That was mine and my husband's profit margin, and it's gone. So it's important that we have some sort of recognition, and we don't want another loan. We don't want handouts. Honestly, first and foremost, I think most farmers would like to see some sort of discussion around the tariffs. We need to be having these discussions and explaining. So here's another fact that I actually just found. The Canola Council of Canada looked at the impact of the Canadian grown canola on the U.S. economy. It found that annually the U.S. receives $11.2 billion. This is U.S. dollars. So 11.2 billion US dollars per year in economic benefit from the Canadian canola industry, and including 1.2 billion US dollars again in wages. 1.2
Wow.
billion in wages coming, that those are direct numbers. That is how the Canadian canola industry is massively impacting the US economy. So this hurts us. This
It
hurts
hurts
us.
everybody
It hurts
across
everybody.
across
It
the
does.
table.
It
Hmm.
does. And that was another thing with my ex post. You see that there are people that are like, hey, we support you guys. We love you guys. Like, this hurts both of us. And it's nice to see that unity. But yeah, it would be nice to see some backing from the provincial government and from the federal government. And it would be nice to see actions and, some actions in that regard. And it would be nice to see, a lot of people talking again on X, they have the assumption that the farmers are going to receive the tariffs. So it'd be nice that if that's what the general public perceives is a good option, then maybe that's what our politicians should be thinking about also.
Well, that's a great possibility. And I want to thank you so much for joining me, Christy, today. Um, Here's hoping we can get some movement here. For our listeners, we will be putting a copy of Christy's X post in the show notes.